Welcome back to This Week in Auburn Sports. I'm Plainsman Sports Editor Eric Wallace.
And I'm Plainsman Assistant Sports Editor Kyle Van Fechtmann.
I'm sure you missed us last week. Unfortunately, we didn't film. I was actually in Manhattan, Kansas. I made that crazy drive, 16 hours both ways to go to the game. But it was a heck of a trip. I wouldn't recommend the drive to anybody, to be honest. That was pretty brutal. Just fly out there if you are ever going to Kansas for any reason whatsoever. But Manhattan itself is a really nice place. The fans are pretty friendly. They didn't really give us, too much stuff while we were out there walking around. As far as the game goes, it wasn't exactly pretty for Auburn most of the game. Honestly, the offense kind of struggled to get going, but defensively, they were really on point. Probably the best defensive performance we've seen out of them in a long time.
Yeah, definitely. To say the least, like you were saying, definitely was not pretty, but the secondary definitely stepped up in times of need, especially after the news that Jermaine Whitehead did not make the trip because of a suspension.
Mm-hmm.
And the two former offensive players, Trevon Reed and Jonathan Ford, they stepped up. And also Josh Holsey, he filled in that safety for Jermaine Whitehead, and he had 10 solo tackles to earn him SEC Defensive Player of the Week. So they definitely showed a lot. And also the run defense, they continue to dominate.
Oh, absolutely.
They held Kansas State's offense to only 40 rushing yards, which is incredible because they have a high-powered offense led by Jake Waters.
Yeah, Waters was a pretty dynamic rusher most of the time in their offense, and he just couldn't get away from Montravius Adams and Gabe Wright. They were just meeting him in the backfield every time. You mentioned Josh Holsey. He was just flying around all over the field, and it really wasn't limited to him. Jonathan Ford, I know he's the team leader in tackles right now, but for a converted running back, you can't ask for much better play at the safety position right now.
And even true freshmen like Nick Ruffin, he stepped up and he got a lot of plays, which will definitely help him out as his career goes on.
Oh yeah, and that's I don't think, maybe it was because it was on a Thursday night. Maybe it was because Auburn's offense didn't look very good. But it seems like the win was getting a little bit, overlooked by the national media. They're not quite giving them as much credit.
Yeah,
but
they're saying they basically just escaped.
Yeah, but that was a really unique environment. The chants that they have in Kansas State, it's very, very unique. It's not something you normally see. Obviously, Auburn has seen environments like that before, but by no means was it easy for them to go in there and get a win like that.
It's pretty incredible that Nick Marshall was able to call a bunch of audibles and communicate with his offense, considering how loud the stadium was. Yeah,
and Nick Marshall, granted, he did not play his best. I mean, I feel like I'm a broken record when I'm talking about him missing Sammy Coates on those deep routes. Every time it's overthrown. Going back to last year, that was a problem.
Yeah.
But when it mattered most, he found his guys. He picked out Ricardo Lewis on the sideline. He threw that dime to DeKeel in the corner. Yeah, you can't do much better than that. And then at the end, with Kansas State clawing back into it, he found Duke for the big play to seal the win. So that's what you want out of your quarterback, to step up in those moments.
That Thursday night game will definitely help them as they play tougher SEC teams.
Absolutely. But moving back to campus events, we've got a lot of stuff going on this weekend. I know soccer is heading up to, is it Vanderbilt?
Yeah, soccer, they're looking to bounce back after their overtime loss against South Carolina. And they're on the road with two conference matchups against Vanderbilt and Kentucky. And most teams are on the road, but the volleyball team will actually be at home this Friday playing another ranked opponent, number 10 Florida. And they also lost a heartbreaker to number 6 Florida State in 5 sets in Tallahassee. So volleyball's looking to improve upon that game.
Yeah, it was a real tough loss for soccer last Sunday. It was their SEC opener.
Yeah.
They were on the SEC network, actually. And they fought back with less than a minute left to force overtime after going down late. And South Carolina, I believe one of their midfielders just hit an absolute strike from outside the box. There was nothing they could do about it. But it was a good fight. It'll be interesting to see if they can get back on track. To the tennis courts, women's tennis, 2 of Auburn's women's tennis players have a pretty big event coming up. Plain Bergmans and Emily Flickinger. You may remember them. They went to the semifinals of the NCAA tournament last year in doubles. They're currently the number 6 ranked doubles pair in the nation, and they'll be traveling out to Los Angeles this weekend to compete in the ITA All-Americans. The Plain will compete in the singles event as well as the doubles, but that'll be a good experience for them, I'm sure. We'll see if they can bring back any wins out of that. As far as the game this weekend goes,
homecoming weekend.
Yeah, not quite the same as a trip to Manhattan. It's a little bit easier, you'd have to think.
Yeah.
What are you looking for from them this week?
As we all know, homecoming games are typically not the toughest opponents. That's not saying Louisiana Tech is bad by any means, but homecoming is usually a chance for other players to get their reps in. Like freshmen like Rock Thomas, they may get reps in, and Malzahn yesterday was saying Jeremy Johnson is going to continue to increase his role, so you could see Jeremy Johnson getting more packages against Louisiana Tech if the game becomes a blowout from the beginning.
Yeah, and you'd like to see the offense, get off to a good start after kind of a sloppy performance at Kansas State. Nick Marshall in the running game, get back on track.
Yeah.
Ideally, it's a blowout, so you can take Nick out so he's not getting those hits, and then just let Jeremy go to work in the second half. I'll be interested to see if the defense can continue its play. They've just been playing, lights out there. They get a lot of criticism. They give up the big plays. But it'll be interesting to see if they're able to continue their good play and shut down the Bulldogs.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how they play. And this game's crucial for them before they open up a very tough schedule with LSU the following weekend. And then they're playing at Mississippi State, as we all know. They beat LSU in Baton Rouge, which is very difficult to do.
Yeah, Dak Prescott's no joke. So yeah, this is a good momentum building opportunity, and we'll see how the Tigers come out after their victory over Kansas State last week. Until next time, this has been This Week in Auburn Sports.